She say I put it on her. Hit her with a 3-piece, really I'm not the owner. She just my little big freak, 1 cent of my cologne. Take her to another level, rock her just like heavy metal. Can't trust that aroma like the spar in the sauna, we gon' sweat it out. I keep my phone on silent, she asking what's that about. I just tell her that I'm private and I don't want to discuss it. I just bust it and she really don't care, it must be. Dick hit different. She say the dick hit different. She say the dick hit different. The dick hit different. She say the dick hit different. She say the dick hit different.
Hi there. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Glad to have you on the show.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. I love the opportunity.
It's been a long time coming. I contacted you a while ago. We finally made it happen. We both got a tough schedule. We gotta squeeze certain things in here, but I definitely appreciate you joining us. We 5 episodes in right now, and you kind of like a vet in the game, like.
Man, it's crazy because I started as a model, and I was like,
You can see that.
and I started modeling when I was in middle school to high school. I was like 15. I got really frustrated with it because if you're not over like 5'8", you get realistically.
Oh, so you was like
I'm 5'2".
model, not like
I'm 5'2", so the industry is 5'8" or higher.
Yeah.
So if you're 5'2", it's hard because every casting says 5'8" or higher. And then shout out to my mom at the time put me in Barbizon because I was tomboyish. So
Barbizon, what is that?
It's like a modeling school that apparently I found out now as an adult is really expensive.
Yeah.
And shout out to my mom. I appreciate it now. And then I started trying to do castings, but at that time it was very time consuming. I was still in high school. So then I ended up stopping it. I got into like I don't know if you remember in high school there was the FBLA, the Future Business Leaders of America.
Yeah.
So I had
I
that.
was in high school like a long time.
Listen, I graduated in 06.
Bub knows in that, man.
So I did that, and then at the time my teacher was like, "Hey, FPL is hiring, go and apply," because I also had OJT. And I went, and literally since 2006, I've been working for FPL. So and at the time I had met who is now my ex-husband. I kind of took the family route, the career route, but I wasn't happy. And then in 2014, I went through a separation with my ex, and then I said, you know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna do what makes me happy. I'm gonna do what's for me. Because you know what? One of the things, and I preach this, if anybody follows my page, you'll see that I always tell women, like, society's going to say because you're a mom, because you're a woman, because whatever, you're supposed to be this, and you basically get told, like, you get pushed traditionally to put yourself last and put everybody else in front of you. So that's when you meet these women that have all these regrets and all these things they wish they wanted to do.
They're angry too.
Right?
They're
Because
mad about that shit.
they stuck to what society kind of forced us to do. And I'm like, I went through this moment, I said, you know what, this is what I want to do, this is what makes me happy. And at that moment I told myself, I'm gonna do what makes me happy. My father passed away in 2014, end of 2014, and I told myself, I said, you know what, life is short. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And at that time, I started networking. You know, I know a lot of times people feel like networking is like, it's corny, it's boring. Where I am now is because of whoever I had met and connected with on God, on everything. And I push women empowerment because I met this young lady, Miss Faye, who has Next Up TV. She was known in the Broward area. And she took me on her platform. And she said to me, she was like, okay, what do you want to do? Anything that she had going on, she wasn't afraid to like share it with me. Okay. And literally that started, I met DJ Meat so at the time nobody really knew this or knows this. I think this is the first time I'll probably talk about this. And like, let me see, my daughter is 10. Okay. I think when she was like 3 or 4 years old, that was the age range. I had met Black Bo. So if anybody knows Black Bo, he was like Ross' right-hand man. He passed away about 2 years ago. He was like his manager. And I met Black, and then at that moment, I was like handling his emails and social media and stuff like that. And I met him, and I used to always tell him, I want to do this, I want to do that. And he kind of like really pushed me. He got me. So behind the scenes, people had no clue. Like I was like even involved. Like no clue, because I'm one of those people that's like, my connection's my connection. Like, I don't want people to rock with me because of who I'm affiliated with or who I can get close to. Because then that's where you get the fake love and the people that be like, oh, I didn't want that. And so for literally, till Black passed away is when people knew how behind the scenes I had been. And yeah, so then I met DJ Meat with the young ladies, new ladies, who I was doing interviews, red carpets. We did BT Hip Hop Awards. Started branching out and went to do an interview with Meat with the girls, and then Meat was like, and then I started coming back, and I said, I think I want to do a podcast. So then we went back, and Meat one day was like, shout out to Billy. Billy Blue came into the station, and I sat through. I sat through his interview, had a blast, and Meat was like, "So you want to be my co-host?"
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay. And that was 2017 because that was the same year I started my podcast. So people don't understand. I had the podcast going on Mondays, and then I had DJ Meat show Wednesdays and Fridays. And I still have a 9 to 5.
See, that's how you know this love real with this show, because I didn't know anything about your affiliation with Black or nothing like that. So, I just saw you on the show, and I know I want to give you your shine by yourself. You feel me?
Oh, I appreciate it.
That's the good thing about our show, bro. We just want to show love to everybody.
My bad. This guy's so adorable.
Man. It makes sense, bro.
Gotta love this
I'm definitely familiar with your podcast.
Akward
Akward
Dms.
Dms.
Yeah,
So
that was interesting.
I actually just found out about it. A lot of people know my situation, so I didn't really know about it. So I had to look. I was like, yo, this shit kind of funny.
It is.
I did. Like, I liked it because when it's true, like, you can't pay for that type of material.
Yeah.
Like, if you get something that's honest and like brutally the truth, like, you can't pay for that. Nobody can write that or fake the truth. Like nothing. Is
Listen,
more
I tell
entertaining.
people, you don't have to lurk through my page. If you listen to Akward Dms, you know my story. Like, we started in 2017. At the time, I was still with my now ex-husband. I separated from him in September. Like, I took everybody through what I was going through, and the reason that I do that, I have, first of all, I went through whatever, therapy is everything. I tell people, I said I promote it. I went through whatever I needed to go through, but people don't understand, once you go and you heal, people can't, anything they want to hold against you, it's like, go ahead, say it, do it. You're unbothered by it, and you move in a whole nother light and strength. And I shared all of that.
Also, I went through a different type of therapy.
Listen, therapy,
I definitely
therapy is lit. I tell people, I said, do it. You don't understand the strength. See, a lot of times when I've seen this in the industry, and then people are afraid to make moves in this industry because of they haven't dealt with. Okay, shit. People haven't dealt with. See, when no one can hold shit over you, you move differently. And on my shows, I shared about that. Like, I talk about how, what led to my separation, my issues in my marriage, and even the process of going through it, because what I've realized too is social media makes everything look perfect, right? Nobody shares, as we've seen this, nobody shares their struggle.
All the failures, man.
And I remember when I was going through the divorce, I was like, like, nobody wants to talk about, because I had questions. I said, man, I'm going to tell y'all, like, it would be nice, he would have let me pick up my daughter, because he felt like, you're doing your show, you can't be a good mom, and it was crazy because my daughter, if people have seen, she's done red carpet interviews with me. She interviewed Lisa Ray, she interviewed Amara La Negra. So it's like, she follows in my footsteps. And so I took that platform to kind of share that, because one of the biggest issues I feel is people feel alone. People feel like no one else is struggling like they are. People feel that everyone else's life is perfect. Like, no, fuck that. Like, I still work a 9 to 5. I'm still trying to pay my bills. At the divorce, I have to pay child support. Like, yes. And I still, and it's one of those things.
I ever hear that?
Yeah. Even though my lawyer said it's becoming common now, because as women are stepping into this powerful role, and we're really, and I was like, damn, but I have to, and I have to also educate people, because people's like, oh, how is that possible? And I tell them, he didn't want the child support, but in the state of Florida, and I told him, I said, when you speak to somebody, are you speaking to someone that was married, or a baby daddy or girlfriend situation? Because in the state of Florida, the minute you file for divorce, if you're doing joint custody, off rip, the state says somebody has to pay child support. it doesn't matter if you want it or not. They are mandating it. And if you're doing 50-50, they base it on your income.
I got a friend of mine going through that right now. Man. She getting hit hard.
You know, and I tell people.
We never worked.
Oh, damn. Damn. So she has to make sure. I'm about to say alimony's the other shit.
Alimony and child support.
See?
That's tough.
I gotta be careful when y'all propose.
What y'all propose? But you know what? Nah, I think
Or ladies, you had to be careful when you saying yes.
you know,
Put this nigga
sadly,
through school or something, man. Make him go work on the
I would say the ladies.
Yeah.
I would say some women are gonna be upset with me, but the thing is, we don't properly know what we want in a relationship, and we have this huge problem that we feel that we can fix every man that come our way, and that was one of my biggest issues. Cause off rip, we never, like, I told my boyfriend now stuff about, and he's like, you didn't see the signs, and I said no, because young me was like, he's this way, but I could change him. And I tell girls, and I advocate about that, if you meet somebody and off rip, you already have things in them that are going to hurt you, that you want to change about them, let them go. No man should be a project, because I'm telling you, you're going to be frustrated, you're going to be off rip, and you know, even the situation I'm in now, I told him, I said, I didn't want to change nothing about you. So that's how I knew we could go to the next step.
Okay,
But he's like, y'all listen.
So with that being said, now that it seems like you have it figured out, not figured out, but you kind of know based on the road that you went down and your experiences, like what type of man like do you go for now? I mean, we know that you're in a relationship, but characteristic wise, because when women say they don't have a type, I be finding that a problem. Like, what you mean?
I don't have a type.
Wear a wig and be like,
hey, you know what? Listen, babe, we'll fix your lace front. But this is the thing, right? I always consider myself a little bit different, and I really don't have a type, because I've learned to like really like how the person is as a person, because I've seen too many where the nice, handsome, pretty looking people be the most fucked up individuals. So I told myself, you know what? I've always been someone that I rock with you because of how and who you are.
Right.
So I went ahead and after the divorce, and I'll talk about this as well, you know, I don't even want to call it dating. I was seeing people, because I'm learning the difference between dating, seeing, looking around.
Break that down for me. The third one especially, so it's dating.
So, okay, so I had to learn, because in my head, growing up, I was just like, you dating somebody, your boyfriend and girlfriend. But I've actually been learning from talking to people that dating is actually the process of where you're courting the person. It's leading up before you say, all right, we're girlfriend and boyfriend. And I didn't really like understand that. And then you just have, you know, the fucking around that, hey, what's up? You gotta go, you know. And at a point in time, I was really.
So dating, seeing somebody and fucking around.
They're all different elements, and you need to understand, especially if you're talking to a girl. Sorry, ladies. You have to understand where they are within the individual. Have you ever seen a meme that says, do you have a girlfriend? And they be like, no, or a boyfriend. But then the next question is there somebody that thinks that you're their girlfriend? Because that's where you have that confusion. The dating, and let's be real, y'all know this, people don't communicate. People leave they leave so much unsaid, and that's where you get the people like, so you're not gonna reply, because y'all never communicated and said what y'all really are, what the expectations are.
So now when they call you and you like, hey, let me hit you right back, man. I was kind of, I'm about to do something with this chick real fast. Oh, hold on, what you mean? Wait.
If that happens, then that means that conversation needs to happen to set the expectations and the boundaries, because clearly she's in a space that you're not in. That's what I've learned. And yeah, man, and in Florida, listen, y'all been out in the dating scene, it gets real messy. Real messy. And yeah, so I really didn't have a type, but you know, I also realized I was not paying attention. One of the things that I tell women a lot, a man that makes the actual time for you makes the difference. Because my current boyfriend now, when I met him, I had no clue of him. I didn't know he was a rapper. I didn't know nothing. I just went and recorded an interview for my homegirl, and we connected. And I had just separated from my husband at that time. And this man was coming out, for anything that I had going on, he came out to my talk show. He came up to my nights that I was hosting at Winwood. He came up and I was like so oblivious to it. And I told ladies, I said, man, you gotta stop and pay attention to who's giving you the time. And then because
hold on. So when you say you was oblivious to it, like you had a show, he would come out and you would be like, oh hey, what's up? It's nice to see you.
I was like, oh okay, like it didn't
like
click.
He ain't come for you, like hey, I'm you.
Yeah, really is.
It didn't click. It didn't click. And every now and then he gives me shit about it, but you know, I told myself I'm being honest though about it. I'm like, it really didn't click. Like, and that's how. And I told my homegirls that story because I see them ignore a lot of dudes that have the proper potential. Because what I learned is you cannot get time back. So a man that says, I'm gonna allot 30 minutes, an hour to come and support something you doing, and I'm legit not getting nothing back. That's real.
So you one of the homegirls who like keep it real, because a lot of women, they be doing shit to men, and they be having the homegirls rooting them on, and then when they walk out the door, they be like, girl, that bitch is stupid, you hear me? That bitch is, yeah, like, they be needing homegirls to tell them, like, hey, why you doing that like that? That shit is, listen,
so there's this young lady, I have a lot of, I call them young Eda sisters. And I remember she said to me, she was like, because she'll call me and ask me things, and she said, see, I need more friends like you. All my friends are city girls. And I was like, yeah.
I've been seeing people use that term.
And the thing is,
I'm gonna start calling some of these niggas city girls.
You know, and it's like, she said, when she said that, she was like, all my friends are city girls. Meaning, when she comes and she tells them about an issue, it don't matter how fucked up she was in it. Girl, fuck that nigga. You need to, and that's not. You're not gonna grow as a person, and in your relationship if that's what you have around you. And like I'm 30, so the people around me are older, and so I would have friends that have no problem saying, nah, Anna, you shouldn't have done that. I was fucked up. Nah, okay, he right. He tripping, and I needed that. But that comes with growth. I'll be honest. Like to tell a girl now that. She has to go through shit to like really kind of feel that and understand that.
To want the proper information.
Yeah, people have to be ready to take in that information. They can hear it, but
I see this a lot. It just be a lot of.
And it's grown women. There's really no age range right now. Cause listen, I've seen some 40-year-old women snapping on ACT UP. Okay, so it's just the person has to be ready.
Oh, 40. They 40. They 40. Still trying to find it.
Feel like they got somebody to speak for them.
What? It be like 5 of them.
We love them all.
Just 5 dumbass women like in a circle, and everybody like, girl.
With that one hand up.
He about to be 41. There's nothing wrong with being alone, but just know that everybody who's alone is not alone. Because the man was fucked up, like some of these women, like
it's a reflection, and it's a hard reflection that it happens in different people's times in their lives. And like I tell people, and I think I'm very patient with people, just because I know I went through stuff, and I tell people, say, you don't know what that person is dealing or struggling with. Their reaction is not because of you; it's because of them. Like I remember in September of last year. I went through it bad because I was still going through the divorce. I was trying to still figure myself out. You know, I finally realized I got a good dude on my side, you know, but I was still fucking up with it, you know, just like really not being like fully focused. Because I told myself I never really learned what it was to be in a relationship. I got married at like 19, 20. You know, and I had been with him since my senior year in high school. So let's be real, 10 years later, 19 years later in a marriage with this, like I never properly grew how to. So I was.
You're still basically that 19-year-old.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
not literally, but
no, mentally and emotionally, I still was not there. And I used to just like we'll have arguments, and I would never apologize. It was never me. I would lash out even though I was wrong. And he's probably gonna look at this and like, yup. And I would lash out. I would lash out, and I remember he said to me, he says, why every time there's an issue, I have to fix it? And it hit me because I remember my ex used to tell me that. And I tell people, I said, if you hear the same thing from multiple people that aren't even related or connected, it's you. It's you.
But also, if multiple people say certain things, maybe that's how I could describe it. All right, like in my instance, I got a strong personality. You know what I'm saying? I like to read, like I look up things. So some people consider that as argumentative. Oh, he like to argue. I've heard this from probably like 50 people. Fast forward in 2013, I was incarcerated from, you know, whatever
situation.
And they told me that it take 25 years. That's your best deal. Me being an argumentative and I guess disruptive person that I was, I was like, no, I ain't taking that shit. Even my lawyer said, listen, man,
25 is not that bad. He's not doing the time. 25 is not that bad.
Yeah, you do 10 mandatory. No, fuck you, fuck her, fuck
You're
me.
right.
And actually, I got on my shit, and I actually went to trial and won. Like,
oh, wow.
like, so sometimes if people tell you why you, some things if somebody say it, it might just be a strong point in you. It's not always like, cause I get that. Oh, you be like,
it's always not a negative.
You be liking to argue, so I was like, I ain't gonna lie, I don't like to argue, but if I wasn't who I am, in some way that would have hindered me.
It's a strength for you. It's one of your traits that benefited you.
Even though everybody probably would agree that yeah, he likes to argue. Like if it would have happened, if I would not have been this person, I probably
in that situation right now.
Yeah, like it's just like even with making music, somebody might be like, you can rap about that? Like, I remember songs that people like that I did for people I like acapella. And you like this? But then they hear with the beat and be like, I love that song. Oh yeah, spit that shit.
I ain't got spit to you.
No. So now we arguing now. But I did say that, so you know, if sometimes when people say that you're a certain way and a lot of people agree with them, it might be because you might have to embrace that. But in your case,
yeah, I was tripping. I was on some bullshit.
But let me ask you a question. In certain instances, right? Why does it have to be because they were saying that you wasn't like you wasn't trying to fix it or you wasn't saying
like something will happen and it could have been a decision or something because so my boyfriend, he's a rapper, he's in the industry, he's been in the industry for a minute, like shitload more followers than me, like the people that are viewing him are on a whole nother spectrum. So you know, one of the things when you're in the industry and you're dating somebody in the industry, I had to learn, like he would tell me, he's like, you know, you can't move like a regular ass chick no more. Like, and I didn't understand that because I'm like, man, I'm Anna, I'm cool, you know, but then slowly, so I had to learn, and what it clicked was, you know, because we women, if a man tells us something, you be like, I don't need a daddy, I don't need another daddy.
Yeah, mine, that's what you thinking, though.
You know, and so we react differently, but it's slowly but surely, I don't even know what it was. It started to click that this man's really trying to help me grow.
Exactly.
It clicked, and I started to take things from it. So, you know, even from as a woman, because I don't, you know, I model. The radio thing has taken like a lot of my time. I now do artist development. I kind of do consultations and stuff. And I realized, you know, things even from the time that people interact with me, he was like, with the dude, you really can't be responding back at 2, 3 in the morning like that. And I had to learn that. And I had to learn that in the aspect of, man, he's not that, because, you know, I'll be, as a woman, you'll be like, he's trying to control me. But it makes sense because you have to understand, I understood the male mind, you know? And then that's where you have these little things where things come up and then, you know, people don't kind of pass boundaries. So he taught me, he's like, you have to set boundaries. You have to set these things. And you know, I'm glad eventually I got the hang of it because I'm telling y'all, this man is patient with me because I was in a different mind frame. And I was like, okay, I'm listening now. I started to do a lot more reflection. And when something would happen, I would go over it and I would say, how would he feel? How would that? I'm telling you, I'm mature. I told myself, man, I don't know what you did to me, but I matured in a way that literally in 10 years, my ex-husband never was able to get me to even think or process this way. So sometimes it takes the right individual to make you really take in the stuff. So in September, I had like a full meltdown. I texted my girls. I said, I'm not doing the show. I text me. I said, I'm sorry. I need to take a break from the podcast. You know, because this industry will make you feel like you can't take a break because you're going to miss out. Yeah. And that's what sucks. And I said, man, after a while you say, fuck that.
Yeah.
If I'm not right, me trying to miss the moment is gonna be pointless because I'm gonna just end up missing it all. So I took a break. He kind of, and then in that moment I realized, I told him, I said, because I used to always lash out. So no matter, I could have been fucked up. I could have done something really fucked up. And I still would end up getting mad at him. And then finally took a while and I said to him, I said, I'm not lashing out. He's like, why are you getting mad at me? I'm not in the wrong as you. And I said,
I don't like when people do that though. Like,
yeah,
if you having an argument, like,
I don't like the
be
point.
right or wrong.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a right or wrong.
Speak your mind. You like blue, I like green. That's fine.
Those
How
are
come if
colors.
I like green, it gotta be like, oh, you wrong for like,
I like it green.
motherfucker. This is me and
That's
that's
those
you.
agree to
And
disagree moment.
here we are.
Nah, I ended up, I remember I told him, I said, and I reflected and I said, I'm not getting mad at you. I said, I realized I'm getting mad at myself. Because I was getting mad at myself for the decisions that I was making, for the way that I was reacting. And I said, so me lashing out, I said, I'm sorry. I told him, yes, females say I'm sorry.
Please.
Females
More often
do.
though. More often.
And I told
Sometimes I
him,
be saying sorry for shit and I be like, I ain't even want this to go there. 10 minutes ago I was like, hey, alright, shit, you got it. Oh, got what? So here I am saying I'm sorry for some shit. I tried to jump out the car 5 miles back.
listen, females do, once a female does get into that space, it's not easy. So it takes the right man to kind of be patient to get her to that point. But I told him, I said, I'm sorry, like my reaction wasn't towards you. It was literally towards myself, but I was taking it out on you. Yo, after that time frame, I think I finally came back. When was BET Awards? I remember we went to BET Awards. No,
Which
it
one?
was,
They got
it was
hip-hop?
October. The hip hop, the one that's down in Miami. It was like October. So September I took a break. October I did a month. And then I kind of rethought about my brand and my shows. And so I went to the BET Awards and everybody said, where the fuck you been? Because I went like ghost. And people don't understand, like I'm still a mom.
Yeah.
I was still trying to figure out, I have been kind of procrastinating on my divorce. And I tell people, I say, you can't properly do something, your craft, your dream, your passion, if your mind is clouded. I needed to kind of put my house in order. I knew I had a time frame, but I needed to put my house in order so that I could move right and, fuck shit up. And he was patient. I did that. I came back, and since then, like it's been nonstop. Like I know how I want to move. I know what I want to do, and it's like, and that's why I tell people, I say, when you feeling some kind of way, and it's been, take the break you need, because this industry, like people don't understand. My month, like there's really no days off for me. Like my last 2 weeks, I work 8 to like 4 or 5-ish, Monday through Friday. I have my podcast on Mondays. I do DJ Meet Show Wednesday and Friday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. Sometimes I don't even go home. I go straight to the station, changing the car. And
Yeah, I
then,
can't do it straight from work.
see, listen, it's all part of the grind. And then I did the South Florida Makeup Awards. I was the red carpet host for that. And then the time before that, I did something this past weekend. But, it's one of those things where I tell people, there's no excuse. If this is what the fuck you want, you don't make excuses. You make solutions only.
Definitely.
That's it. Because, and that's what people say, I don't want to hear your excuses if I'm like, because then the arrangement, once the divorce was final in December, the arrangement is I have my daughter every other. So I think that's when we were kind of coordinating dates. That's why it's like, these are the dates, because I try really hard that the week that I have her. I still do DJ Meet Show, but I try not to, the girls work with me, and I do the podcast every other Monday. The Mondays I don't have her. Just since, because she's 10, and that teenage age, you want to try to stay in tune with the kids. Yeah. So, juggling and multitasking all these things, and then still trying to build a brand. And so yeah, look, y'all looking like shit.
Nah,
I do the same
speaking of
thing.
that,
I got
Akward DM.
Akward Dms.
What's the Akward DM that you? I'm gonna go first. Okay, I'm gonna go first. I had a family member I never met before. Hey, cuz, I fell on some hard times.
That shit was amazing.
Huh? And you are who? Like,
Did you ask for the birth certificate?
Man, no, I
I ain't even respond to that.
You just like.
What's the awkward one you had?
Awkward one. I ain't gonna lie.
Giggled about this one.
I get these awkward ones all the time. Video chat me right now. I'm gonna play with my pussy. Cause I was locked up. I don't know why these people is doing this to me. It's like a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So I had to tell wifey like, why these? Hey, listen.
How many times
Disclaimer.
you clicked on
Cause now it's going boo. I might be doing something. I'm like, hey, I ain't requesting this shit. This shit just popped up on my
screen.
screen.
Like,
yeah. I ain't never tried to click on it because it say click, pay. I'm like, man, I'm finna pay the
Oh, so you clicked on it one time.
Nah, I opened the message. Cause it say live video thing.
they said people getting that habit they can nowadays on the gram. On some what is it? Snapchat premiums now? All kind of.
See, I know a lot. See, I had to stray away from that because I follow a lot of the models just from, you know what I'm saying, being incarcerated or whatever. We used to read the magazines. So looking at the pictures, you know, when I got out, the first thing I said was, oh boy, let me see what's up with Sammy J. And we look at
Like,
I just want to see it in motion one time. Then, you know, it's like everybody swiping up. So I had a homeboy, I had a homeboy did 15 and did 20. So when they got out, you know, we was on Snapchat and Facts too, like my dog Facts did 6, so we like looking on the phone like, look, boy. We just see her in the magazine. My dog like, hey man, oh so shit, Instagram, they just selling pussy on there. I'm like, hey, wait. Cause then he clicked on his niece and he like, hey man, I think my niece a prostitute. I said, wait, bro. Nah, he said, man, shit, they all look just alike. I don't know shit. Look like she selling pussy. I don't think she
was like, you know what?
That's just the look.
Yeah.
Y'all look like they selling pussy. This for the tricks. Hey,
Yeah, let's play it to her.
I just
It's a different time.
That's just what they do.
Awkward. I think, you know, in our show, we always ask, do you get dick pics? I think I've only gotten that once on Snapchat for some random person.
So, hold on,
yeah.
wait.
A
So you're not asking for this, it's just somebody like, look at this.
Peekaboo, like, show bet your dough selling, like,
And he holding a pole in his hand. That's why I don't watch porn. I don't do none of that because one wrong click, that shit will fuck you up, man. I don't even understand. Like, it was just random, and I was like, what the hell? But I've gotten. Did you look at it though? I mean, I opened it, but I was like, what the fuck? I've gotten dudes that have asked, you know, to go out on dates, to go on, pay for my pedicures and shit. I'm just like, and people don't understand. Like, you DM me most of the time, I be like, babe, look. Like, actually, yeah, my boyfriend, you know, has gone through my DMs. I'll show him, like, you see this shit? But, you know, I also have seen a change, a shift. That's why it's hard to do business.
And I've noticed a change in this, and I tell girls, I said, if you're always complaining that you're getting inappropriate messages, that means you're portraying something. And it's so crazy because 2-3 years ago, me wouldn't have even thought like this, because I used to hella thirst trap. I used to do videos in the shower, like from here up, and then when I, you know, got in a relationship, you know, you kind of build a respect. I don't want, because I follow a lot of rappers too because of what I do. You know, I don't want dude to be like, yo, lady, wildin' on the snap, dog. Like, it's disrespectful to him. You know, and I think when you
So are you and him public?
Yeah.
You seen him on the ground?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That's what I'm saying. I'm scrolling. I'm trying to picture who she talking about, but I don't remember seeing him.
I just posted him. He was with me at the station last week. I just posted him, and I think he posted me. So give you a little insight. Oh wait, let me finish this statement. So I stopped doing certain posts. I stopped the thirst trapping, and everything went more business and professional than the crazy shit. So what you put out is what you will get back.
Like
so
you put the Keisha
Kaur, like everything you adjust, but you adjust because you respect your man or the situation that you're in. It's like, ain't no more of those. But
yeah, cause she used to, man, I had her pictures on the bunk. Yeah, I mean I have pictures on the bunk. I get out, it's like she done changed the name. I click on her page, I'm thinking I'm finna see some.
But that's what you're supposed to do when you're with somebody that you love and
I knew she had
respect.
it in. I'm proud of her.
Because
I knew it.
females that'll be like, nah, this is what I do. That's fine. That's what you used to do. But if you respect and you've had that conversation with your man, and you know where his comfort level stands, and you know how he wants to make sure that, because it's not just you, it's y'all.
Yeah.
You know, look at what happened with Aisha Curry. Her comment was their comment at the end of the day. So I had to I learned that.
I'm glad you said something about that. I actually haven't talked about this with nobody.
You want my opinion on it?
Definitely.
She shouldn't. Okay, so everyone's like, oh, but you know, a lot of women feel that way. And this is my thing.
Sure,
Yes, a lot of women may feel that way. Yes, it's relatable. But because it's relatable, it does not make it right. That's the facts. People are vouching for her because they relate to it, but they're not acknowledging the fact that it's still not right. It's still kind of, sadly, it's kind of disrespectful to her man who thinks he's giving her everything. See, when you're with somebody, in my opinion, nobody like dead eyes. There's not a single dude in this fucking world right now that can pop up or even take my attention from my man. If his validation isn't what I'm getting out, it does. No one else's matter. And when you're with somebody, and that's how much they mean to you, and you know how you feel about yourself, then you don't care who's checking for you, who thinks you're pretty, who's whatever. Yeah. So I feel like all it revealed is that there's some insecurities that she needs to deal with herself. Because the minute you want validation of someone else, let me say, my boyfriend, he'll be like, you going out the house like that? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm good. Because I become secure with myself over time. I'm good and I'm comfortable in my skin. And then on top of that, now I'm with him, and only other opinion that matters is just his. And half the time he'll be like, you really gonna wear those? I'm like, yup. So if you're seeking validation elsewhere, because whether it's with Steph or anybody else, it's not gonna change the fact that that's something you feel within yourself. And when you're in a relationship, and I learned this a while back, also and it's a public figure, man, your words and what you say and what you do, it has some effect on him as well.
How old are they though? They're not young, but
she's been with him since she was in high school. Like, that's her high school sweetheart. All she knows is him. And they got like 500 kids. 500 kids. They ain't got 500 kids. Okay, they got like 5 or 6.
For real?
She's been popping out babies.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been telling people. I said, just because it's relatable, our society needs to stick to what's right and wrong. Just because it's relatable doesn't mean it's right. All it means is, yeah, you know what, she's all it shows is, yo, she like the rest of us. But guess what? The rest of us still need to go to therapy and get our shit together.
The rest of us ain't right. Like, I witnessed that. I was actually, you know what I'm saying? I was in the bad part of the state when Donald Trump was running for president. And when they found out he was groping the women, right? I was like, damn, man, that's fucked up. Y'all gonna vote this motherfucker too? Cause I was sitting around a lot of white people, like white officers, all type of shit. And they was like, oh, so you need to tell me you never call a woman a bitch? I said, I call a nigga a bitch. And I hit him immediately after. Yeah. So, and all of them was like, oh, I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, well, you know what that means? That means the Bible was correct, because there's more people going to hell than heaven. I'm like, groping a woman and forcing yourself on a woman. Are we sitting talking about that?
See, just because it's relatable in that aspect does not make it right.
And they would love to see us down and out. People being fake and thinking we not finding out. Can't let them block your light or keep you shining out. We so used to the struggling. What's all the whining about? It seem like they won't be satisfied till we